Well, while Kevin, works out the tech, because we got a lot of tech in this presentation, I want to tell you guys a story about the note taker. So how many of you are using an AI note taker? A lot of you, right? Well, I'll tell you, meetings at Matrix Group, and we're a digital agency that works with associations on their websites, their integrations. We have an AMS and their AI strategy. So meetings and notes are our life, right? Notes are like mission critical. It's do or die. If you don't get the notes right and you don't get the to-do items right, like it's bad, right? Like that. So we tried Fireflies, we tried Zoom, we tried Fathom. Fathom was great for a while, but then we realized that it didn't quite get the to-do items and the next steps right. So we said, let's create our own. So we started experimenting with a custom GPT. First couple of experiments, has anyone tried to do this? Like, no, you've tried to do it. So we tried to do it. And a couple of weeks later, I said to the team, I said, how's it going? And they said, Joanna, it's great. Fantastic. So then a couple of weeks later, I asked, and I said, how's it going? Are we using it? And they're like, no. And I said, why? And they said, well, it's not quite getting the tone right. It's summarizing too much, and the to-do items aren't right. So we went back to the drawing board. We did some customizations. How's it going? Joanna, it's great. A couple weeks later, I say, wow, is it life-changing? Not really. And I was like, okay. So this went on for a while until finally a few months later, I asked the question and I said, is it finally making a difference at Matrix Group? And every project manager said yes, but it took a while. It took me it was like pulling teeth. Give us feedback. Let's figure out how to modify these prompts to make it better. Let's put it through the test. Let's put it through the test for a meeting redesign, for an AMS implementation, for something. And let's make sure that we don't go back to the old way of having the PM take all the notes. Then they look at the notes from the AI note taker, and then they compare them, and then they figure out what's different. Are you guys doing this? Right? See? And then you send out the notes. So now you're actually creating 3 times the work. We have finally gotten to the point where my team trusts the AI custom GPT that we created. It's actually creating accurate notes with accurate to-dos, but it took 9 months. And I'm going to tell you my 4 C's. Well, I think Kevin has it needed a lot of curiosity. It needed CEO involvement. It needed continuous process improvement, and it needed a celebration. The 4 C's in order for this to finally get adopted. So what we're going to talk about today is what's the culture at your organization as you navigate your AI adoption? Because we've been talking a lot about like AI products, but what about the AI use in your organization? Who's getting curious and who's making sure that it's happening? We're going to open with just a few stats. Look at these stats. 70% of global enterprises use AI in at least one business function. 50% are doubling their budgets. 74% increase, expect to be increasing ROI. Does this sound like us? No, it doesn't sound like us. I actually think they're lying. I think organizations want to sound more impressive than they actually are with their AI adoption. And Kevin, I don't know if you have something to say about that, but I'll say this, like when they say 50% of leaders plan to double their AI budgets, what are they spending it on? Like, are they spending it on tools? Are they spending it on consultants? Are they spending it on products? I think that's kind of interesting. Kevin, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, sure. A couple orgs I work are on different ends of the spectrum. One is out there using AI and bringing it in-house, sharing it with their members as a member value and a benefit, really embracing it and understanding what it means, right? They're experimenting, they're failing fast, they're adjusting. And then the other end, we have an organization where they're trying to figure out how to do training and should we do an AI policy, and many revisions of an AI policy that haven't even socialized yet. And they're locking everything down, and there's a lot of apprehension, and there's a lot of what words should we be saying during this training or not be saying? Or what's our tool of choice? Is it ChatGPT? Is it Copilot? Is it Gemini? Is it Claude? All over the place. And then other organizations, Sherry and I do a lot of AI training and policy development over the last 18 months, and they're moving, right? They know they need to adopt to it. They know they need to have a policy that's some guide rails, right? But they know it's going to change based on what's coming out and the staff adoption. So the bottom line is you have to be very flexible. You can't come out rigid because then you won't be able to be flexible enough. And so it's definitely something where it's a living document, this AI policy. We're going to get into a discussion a little bit. And if you think you need to have something that's written in stone and account for every single scenario, you're going to be sorely disappointed right out of the gate. But we'll talk about some of those items here in a little bit.
Let's go to the next slide because I think we got a few more stats. And then we are actually going to ask you questions. So look at this. Organizations with a visible AI strategy see 3.5 times, are more likely to see ROI. Teams are 1.7 times as likely to see value when leadership is actively engaged. Now, this I actually believed. I will talk to CEOs and they'll say, ooh, AI, yeah, talk to my tech guy. I don't think this is a talk to your tech guy thing. I think this needs to be infused into every aspect of your organization. And if your CEO isn't using it and modeling it and being curious about how to use it, I think you're going to stay very surface level. And then finally, boosting junior staff productivity. I've had discussions about are we even going to have entry-level people? Yes, we will have entry-level people. But how do we use AI to really boost their productivity? So I think there's a lot of stats being bandied about, but what we want to ask you is, how are you using AI and what are your policies? Should we go to the slides?
All right, we having some. Okay.
Okay.
What about you guys? Where do you stand? So I'm going to switch around here. There's some polling, some live polling we'll do. And if Chris gives me some access, I can share that poll.
Because we want to know how you're doing with your AI journey. So cross fingers this tech is going to work. This is going to be, so see up at the top, you can scan the QR code or you can text 22333 and send Joanna Pineda 672. I know you now have to know my name and how to spell my name. Joanna Pineda 672 222 333. And our first question is, does your organization have an AI policy? Now, I'll tell you, I will talk to some organizations and they'll say, we don't have a policy, we're still working on it. So here's the problem with that. When you don't have a policy, you don't actually know what's happening in your organization, and then it goes underground. And so then people maybe are using tools without any guidance.
Absolutely. Some organizations are saying, oh, I need an AI policy so I can control my staff of what they're doing, or are they even using it? Here is a spoiler. Your staff is using it
Exactly.
and have been using it for the last year or 18 months, right? They're training their colleagues. And I'm sure when the CEO walks in and goes, what is this chat GPT? Can you show me? I'm telling you, that CEO is being trained either with or without a policy, and with guardrails on or not. They are going down that rabbit hole, right? So don't pretend if you don't have an AI policy that, oh, well, my staff's not using it because we don't have a policy. That's you're going to be very sorely disappointed. So the assumption you need to make is your staff is using it. They may not be using it correctly. They may not be getting the results they thought they were, and they're frustrated because maybe they're not asking the right question in context. This is whole thing about prompt engineering over the last 2 years that you see a lot of education on. And as the tools mature, the prompt engineering may not be as important, but context is, and also verifying your results, right? You got to check that out. So it's good to see that you do have some policies. I'm not sure or no, but start putting some guide rails out there. at least give your staff some basic training on, hey, am I training the entire world on all of my questions and responses out there? It's important to understand some of these little security options that are on or off or are publicly training the model. Sometimes they're disguised as, oh, we can use the data to improve our model or.
Oh yeah, that's ChatGPT. It's total marketing speak.
Right.
If you go into data and privacy, it says, make ChatGPT better for everyone.
Yep.
That's awesome, right? Who wouldn't want to do that? Not me. They can pay for it.
Right.
So
Understand what those little sliders mean. Also, if your team is downloading or like a note taker, this was some of my favorite ones. Some of these note takers, if you don't read the agreement, you may be sharing data with a foreign government. So what one organization I was working with, the sales staff were so happy they were using this phenomenal tool, gives them feedback, trains them how to be a better salesperson, how to close, how to ask the right questions. And then my team and I said, oh, well, let's take a look at, the contract. And so sure enough, we're reading it and like, okay, there says here, to improve our tool, we can use your data to improve the tool, and it can be shared with our parent company. So you do a little bit more research, finding out the parent company is in Israel. And so now they have access to that data. So you got to be very careful. I know no one likes to read those ULAs, right? The end user license.
Kevin likes to read those. You can ask him.
So I do that at night, but it's important to read those things of who owns and where that data is being shared. Just because it's a great sales tool,
right?
And it probably is. What are you giving up in return?
So we're going to go to the next poll. While we're doing that, for those of you that don't have a policy, at the very least, tell your staff, don't put confidential information in unless it's been explicitly approved. If that's the only thing you say, the other thing you could do is you can say, we need to know what you're using. We're not going to control it, but don't put in any confidential information. That's what we did when we first started until we developed our policy. Okay, so here's the next question. Is your organization using paid AI products? Kevin, why is paid in the question here?
So paid is interesting, right? Because it doesn't mean you're going to give up that $20 or $30 per month per user, but it allows you to turn on or off and control some security guide rails, right? And I think some of us using ChatGPT, the free version or the pro version or the enterprise version, there are some settings that you should be aware of. One that Joanna mentioned was, oh yeah, let's improve the tool for everyone. That's code for share it with me so I know what you're doing. Also with some of these tools, you can bring it into your organization, especially at the enterprise level, and start monitoring or at least locking certain things down for your staff, because that's important. This way, if you do allow them to share files with the tool, at least there's some security on, so it's not going out through the real world. And $20, $30 per month per user, it may seem expensive, but also there's a little insurance in there, right? Because you're paying for something in return of locking certain information down.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're Google Workspace, you have access to Gemini. So tell your staff to make sure that they're logged into their work email, and then you can use Gemini, and Google says, look, everything stays in your workspace, and Microsoft says the same thing if you're logged into your corporate Microsoft account. So you probably already have tools. You have to socialize it and train people. So let's go to the next question. Here's the next question. Have you gone beyond using AI to brainstorm and draft articles? Because this is like low-hanging fruit, right? Oh yeah, I'm putting together a workshop, and give me slides or give me content for whatever. But one of the things that we tell our clients when they're kind of thinking about their AI journey is think about the processes in your organization. Think about it department by department, and then say, what things could we start automating, or what things could we make easier with AI? And then you're going beyond just the drafting of the articles. So we've got, okay, yes, look at that, 75% say yes. Fantastic. Just really quick, like who's gone beyond this that's willing to share? What are you doing internally? Okay, 75% of you said yes. So what are you doing?
Back there.
Back there, yeah.
Oh,
I just moved my arm and you caught me.
oh, I'm sorry. It's a stretch.
I'll give you an example of something that we did that was life changing. You know how documentation is really hard. What we do at the end of a project is we take every single message that was sent to the client, we take all the project deliverables, and then we have a 90-minute meeting with the entire team to say, what about this project is kind of interesting or unusual that we shouldn't forget? We take that transcript, we combine everything, and then we created a custom agent. I think it's a custom gem because it's in Gemini to create documentation for the project. We never were able to do this before. And it took a couple of months of really refining the prompting, but it's been life-changing. So that's an example of going beyond brainstorming and drafting. Okay, how about the next one? Okay, what are you using AI for? So this is a tag cloud, and we'd love to know. Just write stuff down. What's it doing? What's it doing for your organization? Kevin, what's it doing at orgSource?
Lots of different things. We have a couple custom GPTs that help share with their podcasts and interviewing. It used to take weeks to develop the specific questions and go through the profiles. And Sherry created a custom GPT that just does that in like seconds now. We also have one I created about creating our success stories on our website. Again, another process that took a writer and marketing and interviewing our team members and stuff. So now you put in the client and some information about the work. Maybe it's a abbreviation about the SOW, and it comes out with a really great case study in our voice using consistent terms. Again, it just shortens the time to market.
And so, Kevin, you've clearly created some kind of a custom agent or a custom GPT that's been trained in your style, and you've taken the time to do that. Okay.
Yeah. We train. I mean, there's another one I have for our internal. Like all of our books and white papers are in it, and then it helps us generate additional white papers and everything else. And I use that one to help start my weekly article I do on AI. So it again, it takes hours down
Yeah.
to minutes.
This is an awesome tag cloud. Kevin, we'll make this available to you so that you can make it available to the attendees.
Yep.
Let's go to the next one. We've just got a couple more. Are you measuring the impact of AI? It's kind of a tough question, right? Like, how do you go about measuring this, Mr. Consultant?
So there's a study we have to do first. No, it goes back to an earlier question, and that is what problems are we
Yes,
trying to
exactly.
solve for? Right? Let's not use AI for the sake of AI. What problems are we trying to solve for? Right? Is it a customer service, member service, staff efficiency? Are we trying to save time? Are we trying to save money? Are we trying to increase member engagement? Are we trying to increase revenue? What are those things we're trying to solve for? And then kind of work backwards. And then the other thing is there's this saying of, what doesn't get measured doesn't get done. Right. And so you have to put thought and strategy into these things, or else it's not going to get done. Someone up the chain is going to ask, what is the impact? We spent X dollars on AI tools, training. What does that look like after you make that investment? And ROI can be measured in lots of different things. It's going to be different for all of our organizations. I'm saving time, I'm making money. What are those points? So you always have to treat it as you plan. It's very strategic. You just can't just say, oh, I'm going to use AI and we'll see what happens. Yep. Maybe for experimentation, but if you really want resources, you're going to have to make it almost like a new product ideation. And what are we doing? Why do our members want this? Why does staff need this? And start tracking your results.
And I don't think you need hard data here. I mean, if you have a conversation with the marketing team to say, how long did it used to take you to generate the questions for the podcast? Oh, it used to take us a couple of hours, and now it takes us 15 minutes. Oh, well, how often do we do the podcast? We do that twice a month. Fantastic. We're saving 5 hours a month. Just start jotting that down to see, and it's not going to be a one-to-one, right? Like our custom note taker that took us, a couple months, or actually months and months and months of tweaking. But that's the kind of stuff that you want to be measuring so that then you can report back. So if you're saying, wow, $30 per employee per month, that's a lot of money. It's actually not once you start measuring. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Has your CEO talked about AI and the impact on staffing? This is important, I think, because I've been in many places, forums, discussions where I've heard CEOs say, my team is worried that we're going to fire people or that we're somehow going to reduce headcount. I think it's worth it for the CEO to be upfront, to be transparent. I know I have in my organization, and I've been explicit about saying, I don't want to reduce headcount, but I would like everybody to be more productive. And this is what I think productive looks like. And I would like to be able to do X with the same number of staff. And I would like for people to be turbocharged. I think this is something worth talking about. Otherwise, people are nervous.
And quite frankly, it is going to impact staffing. Now we just have to figure out what are you going to do with that impact, or where should that impact be?
Yeah.
Again, what problems are we trying to solve for? But that's just the reality of it. I know you read any article out there, you go to any training, then people are like, oh, it's not really impact, staffing because it's going to be staff that know AI is going to replace staff that don't know AI. Well, yes.
That's an impact on staffing.
Yeah, yes, and there might be a bottom line impact to staff.
Yeah.
So let's not dance around it. Let's not sugarcoat it. That's just reality, especially as AI turns about every 6 months. It doubles, in its power. It's just amazing what you can do a year from now.
Now, I'll tell you one thing that I am hearing is we just came out of the pandemic. People are tired, right? People were working nonstop during the pandemic. And now what we're asking them to do is learn a new set of skills and a new set of tools, and they're changing all the time. If you thought you were good at prompting this month and then it changed. And what I am hearing, Kevin, I don't know if you're hearing this, and I don't know if you all are hearing this, is I'm tired. I'm tired and I feel like my job keeps changing. And I don't have an answer for that, but I think it's something to address as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think our morning keynote, stress, right? That's definitely a stress factor when things change so fast like that. It's important to keep that in mind. So I'm glad we had Elise here to walk us through that in the morning.
Yeah. And our last question. What do you wish AI could do for your organization? And this is the aspirational stuff. If time and money and tools and capabilities and anything, what do you wish AI could do for your organization? This is another tag cloud.
Yeah.
Or comments, I guess.
Laundry,
and offerings.
dishes.
Laundry. Somebody said laundry?
Well, this is my wish list.
Okay. Vacuum for me. Do all my marketing tasks. And I think it is worth sometime during staff meeting, spend the last 10 minutes and say, what do you wish AI could do? And then for the folks in your organization who are maybe the most AI enables, say, keep an eye for these 10 things that the staff have talked about. And if you hear somehow out there in the ether about things that are doing these things, let us know, let's explore it. Let's explore the N8N workflows. Let's explore what's happening, with 11 labs, for example. So, again, we will share the results of all these. So I know we're running out of time, so let's just go through our action plan. Sure.
Chris, I need control back, please.
Okay. So what do you do? What do you do in your organization, right?
Kevin.
We'll just go all the way down. There you go. We'll skip all these. One more.
Come on, let's do
There you
it.
go.
One
All right.
time. All right. Okay.
I don't think we need to talk about these obstacles because we know these, right? We talked about these. So here's our action plan for AI adoption. I love the idea of some kind of an AI challenge. Like make October your AI challenge and say, everybody in the organization take no more than 10 hours, use off-the-shelf tools and do something with AI. Do anything with AI and then have people share at the end of the month. And the receptionist, the person who handles meetings, the person who handles pub sales, what can AI do for them? My other tip is designate 2 people to always say, what about AI? Even if it's a non sequitur. Because then you'll get into the habit of saying, what about AI? What about AI? Get people trained up because when they're trained up, they're more confident, they're less stressed, and then they know how to use the tools.
Yeah, and right now, your vendor partners are your greatest resource for this. Every single one of them has an AI roadmap. You just need to ask for it,
Right.
and they will give it to you.
We're
They will
all
share it
dying
with
to
you.
talk to you.
They will share it with you. This is how we're using AI in our product solutions to do better member experience, staff efficiency, more creativity. They all have it. I would ask them what's in their roadmap and see if it aligns with what you want to do.
I would also have regular check-ins, particularly with the senior staff. I mean, I do hear from more senior staff who say, I'm not sure that I can use AI. So they think it's more the junior staff, maybe who are drafting, who are working with numbers. But I think it's worth checking in with everybody in the organization to say, how can our work change? I mean, like I had a client create a custom GPT. They threw in to paid ChatGPT 5 years worth of committee rosters, committee notes, committee agendas, and now they have a committee assistant. As an example, that was one of the things that came out of their challenge. And then finally, if you don't have it now, maybe budget for some kind of an AI tool. A couple years ago at ASE Annual, I did a session on The Inevitable by Kevin Kelly. And he said in the 2017 book that in the future, everybody will have a personal robot, he called it. Well, today, we all have access to a personal robot or an AI assistant. How can you make sure that everyone in your organization has an assistant or something or a tool that can help them be better? And it's not going to replace them. It's not going to, replace their wisdom and their insight, but how can it help them be better? So if you don't already have it in your budget, maybe ask your CEO, talk to the people in finance, can we budget $30 per person per month so that everybody has a tool of their choice?
Right. And sharing is caring, right? So everyone has their favorite AI chat bot, whether you name it Gemma or not. Share with your teams, like, what did you do this week that was, wow, look how much time this saved me, right? That's another way of just doing training. It needs to be ingrained. If it's a lunch and learn or whatever that looks like, everyone probably has their favorite tools and the 3 things that they did in the last week or so that saved them time or money or just be more efficient. So one of the things before we all go out there is there's a couple of things we need to be asking ourselves. Some questions. One, are we chasing this AI or latest tech because of fear of missing out on what's happening, right? We'll every time we turn on the news, the TV, or YouTube, whatever your source is, there's something about AI, right? So let's not make sure we're chasing it just for the sake of we're missing out on something. The other thing is, does an AI solution align with your strategy and value proposition, right? I think Dawn and Kelly gave us a great example of what they're doing aligns with their strategic plan and goals. It wasn't just something way out of left field and now there's something out here they have to pay attention to. It was done with intention and purpose and goal, right? Just like any other project out there.
Kevin, I would argue also, or I would add to that, how do you make sure that your AI policy, your procedures, and your products align with your strategy and goals?
Yeah, absolutely. And then what about your members and customers? are they going to get value out of AI use? And again, I go back to the safety track. I mean, great value there. I mean, their book sales 4 times in the since what, July or something like that?
I just got a real time number that we made 16.
Okay, 16 grand since July. Oh, well, that's only a couple of months, so that's pretty good. So anyway, this is a real example, right? That just says it's value to their members, because some of the membership out there or organization where they're like, oh, our members think that that's just part of being a member value, some AI tool. Well, is it? I think you have an example here that no, people are willing to pay for it. And then is AI helping build your sustainable profit model? Again, it's back to business. We're here, even though we have a nonprofit status, just as the tax status is, how are we making margin? Because without any margin, there's no mission. So again, what is your business plan? How are you making money? How are you marketing it? How are you going to upgrade it? Remember, this is not just a one-year thing. It could be long-term.
Because when you're profitable, you can say no to the $50,000 sponsor that doesn't align with your values.
That's a good one. Oh, there's your quote for you.
I love this quote. The hardest part of AI isn't building the tech. It's redesigning your processes, culture, and mindset to use it effectively. But once you do, you unlock incredible value. I think this is our call to action, right? How do we redesign our process, our culture, and our mindset to unlock incredible value? And it's all about the people. We talked about this earlier, right? This is really a change management process. This is a culture change. This is a culture shift for all of us. That's probably causing a lot of stress. So how are we navigating it? Together through something like this, through assistance by sharing ideas, but also really with an open mind, but also with an idea that this is going to make us better.
Great. We'd love to continue the conversation, connect with us, follow us.